Welcome back, Mongo Fix. Mongo's sister got a beautiful Subaru Outback. It drives all the wheels in a symmetrical way. It's very important when you're in the Outback. Well, she picked this up from Mongo's buddy at the yard. It's a pretty standard 2.5 liter engine. You know, it's got the big air intake here, the air filter there. Come across, no turbochargers or intercooler or nothing, pretty basic. Mongo's buddy at the yard picked it up. He said it need head gaskets for sure, so they put head gaskets on it. Found out one of the heads was cracked, so replaced that head. Not sure if it was that one, Mongo just guessing. Mongo never worked on this car, so Mongo drive it out to his sister's place. 1,000 miles on it, roughly. Couple weeks later, it got problems. Mongo little nephew was driving it, and he say the car struggled to make power, didn't want to get over 40 miles an hour, and then while driving on the highway, just died. Check engine light was on, oil light was on, and it was like a pint low on the coolants, and they had to add I think it was about 3 quarts of oil, not 100% sure, but a decent amount of oil. So the thing was using oil like crazy. Mongo drove out, pick up the car on the trailer, tow it all the way back home. Been sitting in the barn for a couple weeks now. Doesn't look too bad underneath, but something's dripping somewhere. Got a small drip there, nothing crazy. Small drip there, but something big back there. Well, looking at that drip, directly above that is a transmission pan. And that's all sorts of wet, so it's gonna need a transmission pan gasket. It's got a nice little drain plug right there. That's just wonderful. But that would not cause the engine problem. Mongo gonna start from ground zero. Got some sort of weird splash of chemical here. Not sure what that is. Could be maybe coolant. Might be old. We got some wetness here. That's your power steering pump. And looks like there's oil sitting right on the cylinder block right there. Power steering pump for sure leaking. I'll keep checking around. Might as well look at our air filter. Yep, it's in there. Not the cleanest. We'll pull that out and take a better look. There's our power steering fluid reservoir, and it looks like it's between the cold minimum and hot minimum. Gone down a little bit if it was full from the beginning. I'm not sure. Don't see any leaks on our brake ABS unit. This is the brake system. You're in from the master cylinder and 4 outlines to your wheels. This is the motor pump. Got some more weird splash residue stuff there. Brake reservoir looks to be right between min and max. Fuel lines look okay. Got our EGR pipe right down here. Don't see any leaks there. How full is our reservoir? Somewhere right around in here, so a little bit over full. That's got pretty good amount of coolant there. And some more of that chemical residue splash something. Maybe somebody had replaced the radiator at one point. Looks to be in pretty good shape. Doesn't look too old. Well, we check our oil level. Pull her out. Give her a wipe. The first one is to see how the oil looks. She kind of black. Doesn't smell great. See what the level at. See a little above the full mark. It's supposed to be at that little circle right there. Not the half moon. It's supposed to be at the little circle, and it's up to the half moon. Not sure if that's where they put it, or is something leaking into the oil. Check our air filter the rest of the way, and we just need a flathead screwdriver for that. We'll start by pushing down this little connector for the mass airflow sensor to disconnect that and just tuck it out of the way. Loosen that guy up. Just easier to get that all the way out of the way. And that's pretty nasty. Whole bunch of debris in the inside there. Not enough of a problem to cause a performance issue with the engine. Mongo just doesn't like it getting that dirty. Always a good idea to make sure there's no mousy nest in there, just in case. So we'll just reassemble this now. Don't forget to reconnect your mass airflow sensor. Good idea to retighten this hose clamp. That way there's no unmetered air going into the engine. Because we're going to fire it up to see what's going on. We should check our transmission fluid levels, since we do know there's a leak down there, and that is this little dipstick right here. It's got kind of a pink color to it. It's always a good idea to smell your transmission fluid. If it smells burned, something's wrong with the transmission. And that doesn't smell horrible. So now we'll stick the dipstick back in and check our level. And it's way filled up high, which could probably be normal. Normally you check your transmission fluid level when the engine's running. And on this one, hot full, hot low, cold full, cold low. That way you don't have to wait for it to get up to temperature. You can kind of just, is it cold or hot? Fire the engine up, check it, see what it's at. We'll do that in a little bit here. Mongo just likes to check to see where it's at initially, because if initially it's way down here, you're definitely going to have a problem, so better get some in there before you just fire it up. Now, just for reference, on the passenger side of the engine bay, if you look down by the transmission, is another little yellow dipstick right there. This little yellow dipstick is for the front differential fluid. Generally, you don't have to worry about that unless your front differential is leaking. And when we check that, it's just below the full mark. Mongo doesn't recommend smelling this one just because differential fluid is usually pretty stinky. Up to you. So for reference, that little gray spacer, looks like a spacer, that separates the bell housing and front differential from the actual guts of the transmission. If your transmission fluid is low, do not put it in there. That will fill up your front diff. So it's just kind of one of those, that's the torque converter part of the transmission. Shaft goes through to drive the transmission, and then another shaft at the bottom comes forward to drive the front differential. It's pretty clever that way. Mongo doesn't see any big red flags, so we're gonna fire it up and see what happens. Quite the rattle. Oh, better open the bar door. So Mongo doesn't like that big rattle at the beginning. It's running kind of high idle right now because it's a little chilly, and we're waiting for the catalytic converters to light off, and then the RPMs will come down. Good idea to check the exhaust, see if it's blowing like white smoke, blue smoke. Does it smell like it's burning oil? Does it smell like it's burning coolant? Mongo smells just a bit of coolant. You can hear the RPMs coming down a little bit, so the cats are starting to light off. Before it gets too hot, Mongo's a little concerned about the coolant. We're gonna test it, check to see if there's any combustion gases in there, because Subarus are known for head gasket problems. So Mongo's got a combustion gas tester. So you take this special combustion leak detector fluid and you pour some inside this nozzle up to that line. The fluid is a blue color. Now if there's combustion gases inside there, it'll turn yellow. Well, Mongo doesn't like that knock noise at all, and with as high up as that coolant is, we'll put the cap back on because we don't want to contaminate the fluid. Squeeze this little bubble, and that draws air from down there into there. We'll do this for 2 minutes and we'll see if that fluid turns yellow or green. And those RPMs went way down. That's not the camera. That engine's got a bit of a shake to her. And there's no check engine light on. She got good and warm, good and hot. Oh yeah, she's hot down there. Mongo would say that has changed to a green color. So that means for sure we have combustion gases that got into our coolant. That means the head gaskets are probably blown. Might be one, might be the other, not sure. Took a while for it to get there, which tells Mongo it's not until the engine gets warmed up that they actually start leaking. Maybe they're not super bad yet, but obviously once it gets all the way warmed up, it just kills the whole engine. Now it's one thing if you just have combustion gases in your coolant, okay, you need some cylinder heads. That's one job to do, but Mongo really doesn't like that knocking noise that we're hearing. Based on the frequency and whatnot of that knocking noise, it's most likely a rod bearing inside there that's gone or slipped or something. Probably had to do with the low oil. Not sure yet if the oil is related to the head gaskets. They're usually related just because of how the Subaru engines work, but might not. However, there's no leaks on the floor where oil could be going. Now, maybe it's burning it. Maybe the valve seals are so gone that it's pulling oil through the valve seals and burning it, but it didn't look real smoky out the back either. That knock alone, though, tells Mongo she gonna need a new engine. Or a rebuild, but Mongo's, it's super cheap to get engines from the yard. Now, this little combustion coolant tester thing, combustion leak detector, this thing is the easiest way to find out if you have blown head gaskets or not. It's a super cheap tool. The fluid is super cheap. It's real easy to use. You can get some fluid out of your radiator to put it in there or right in the coolant reservoir. Depending on how bad your head gaskets are blown, might be easy to detect, might be a little more difficult. It took us a while before it actually changed color for this one. For reference, if you're doing this at your house, if you happen to find the oil is low, top it off before you do this test. Same with the coolant, top it off before you do this test because it might take a while. You want to make sure the engine gets nice and hot so you can test it through all the realms. But hopefully this video helped you. If you have a Subaru with a 2.5 or a 2.2, turbo, non-turbo, doesn't matter. You can test the head gaskets the same way. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. If you like this video and other videos from Mongo Fix, be sure to subscribe. Mongo is working on all sorts of stuff. And be sure to stay tuned to part 2. We're going to pull this engine out. Mongo will show you how to get all the stuff disconnected and get this engine out of here. Mongo, thank you.